I am 45 years old and I'm about to have a panic attack in Terminal B. My hands are shaking, I cannot breathe. I am about to board a flight to Rome alone, and every voice in my head is telling me and screaming for me to turn around, and I almost did. In fact, I walked up to that gate agent and I said, I can't do this, but here's what happened next, and why I'm standing here 10 years later telling you that you can do this too. Let me take you back. It was September 2014. I had spent 6 months planning for this particular trip. 6 months of, you're so brave, and I wish I could do that from friends who would never actually book that ticket. And then the morning came. I got to the airport very early. Too early, in fact. Sat there for an hour watching families, couples, business travelers with purpose. And suddenly, my purpose felt like a massive mistake. The panic hit me at once at the gate. Not cute anxiety, full body. Am I dying panic? Heart racing, vision narrowing, this overwhelming need to run. I walked up to the gate agent and I said those words, I need to go home and I need to go home now. She looked at me and said something I'll never forget. Sweetie, if you get on that plane, the panic ends in just 9 hours. If you walk away now, it stays with you forever. I boarded that flight, shaking, crying, probably terrifying the poor man in 14B, but I got on that plane, and 9 hours later, I was walking through Rome alone, and something shifted. The fear didn't just disappear. I just realized I could carry it and still move forward with the trip. Here's what the 20-year-old backpackers on YouTube don't tell you about solo travel at midlife. We have spent decades being responsible, cautious, the reliable ones. We built careers, raised families, been the dependable friend. So when we decided to do something just for ourselves, especially something that breaks the sensible mold, our brains panic. Not because it's dangerous, but because it's unfamiliar. Because we're rewriting our own story at any age when society tells us we're supposed to have it all figured out. Let me tell you one thing. Let me give you the framework that I wish someone had handed me at Terminal B. I call it the F.E.A.R method, and I've used it with hundreds of women since becoming a travel agent. F is for facts. When panic hits your brain, it lies. It tells you you'll get lost, something bad will happen to you, you can't handle this. Stop and ask yourself, what are the actual facts? Rome has police, your hotel has a 24-hour desk, you have a phone with GPS. Facts defeat fiction. E is for exit strategy. Here's the secret. You are never trapped. You can always book a flight home. You can always call the hotel concierge. You can always ask for help. Knowing you have an exit makes staying much easier. A is for accountability. Text someone when you land. Check in with your kids. Join a solo travel Facebook group and post updates. Being alone doesn't mean being disconnected. R is for routine. Book the same type of hotel. Eat breakfast at the same time every day. Walk the same route to your main destination. Familiar routines create psychological safety in unfamiliar places. I used this framework on my second trip to Paris, my third to Barcelona. By my fourth solo adventure, I wasn't using it to survive, I was using it to thrive. Let me be brutally honest with you. There are still moments when I feel the edge of panic. Last year in Lisbon, I took a wrong turn and ended up in a neighborhood that didn't feel quite right to me. My heart raced, but instead of spiraling, I pulled out my phone, opened maps, walked to the nearest cafe, ordered a coffee, and waited for my nervous system to settle. 10 minutes later, I was fine. The difference between 45-year-old me and 55-year-old me isn't the absence of fear, it's the trust I can handle whatever comes next. You know what? I've learned from a decade of solo travel and helping hundreds of women book their first trips. The women who get on that plane aren't the ones without fear. They're the ones who've decided fear doesn't get the final answer. It doesn't get the final vote. So, if you're sitting there right now, ticket booked, departure date approaching, stomach in a whole lot of knots, I see you. I've been you. And I'm telling you with absolute certainty, the version of you who walks off that plane in a foreign country is worth this moment of discomfort. Book the trip, take the shuttle, walk through the security, and sit at the gate. And when that voice says, turn around, you answered it with confidence and say, I hear you and we're doing this anyway. If you want help planning your first solo trip so you feel completely secure, I am a travel agent who specializes entirely in midlife women solo traveling alone. Now, let me handle this logistically so you can focus on the experiences. Otherwise, hit subscribe because I'm going to show you and teach you everything I've learned the hard way so you don't have to. Get on that plane. I'll see you on the other side. I'm Nicole, and you are braver than you think. I post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. See you later. Bye.